Hi there, I'm Candice So, staff writer with itbusiness.ca. I'm here with Howard Solomon, editor of itworldcanada.com, and we're here to talk about the wireless spectrum auction, which is set to start on January 14th. So Howard, first of all, I want to ask, it's been about 5 years since the last spectrum auction. What's going to be different about this auction versus the last one?
Well, the first thing is that there's fewer bidders, and there's fewer bidders outside of the big people like Bell, Rogers, and TELUS who have big money. So in the 2008 auction, for example, Shaw Communications, the big Western Canadian cable company, they were there. They're not there this year. So combined with different rules, it's going to mean that the auction will be shorter and there's going to be less money that will be spent. In the last auction, the federal government pulled in $4 billion, and nobody in the industry thinks that the bidding is going to go that high this time around.
So how will the outcome of the auction affect Canadian wireless customers?
Well, there are two big things here. One is the kind of spectrum being auctioned off is in the 700 megahertz band. And that spectrum has some certain characteristics that cell owners will really like, which is the signals penetrate buildings much better than the signals they use now. So when cell phones come on the market that can use 700 megahertz spectrum, they'll see some advantages there when they go inside buildings. The other thing about this auction is people are keeping their eyes on Wind Mobile. Wind's main financial backer, a company called VimpelCom, has indicated that it would like to sell its share of the company. So we're not sure how much money Wind has to bid on spectrum. So it'll be interesting to see at the end of the auction whether Wind is able to add 700 megahertz spectrum to its holdings in Alberta, British Columbia, and Ontario, or whether it's restricted or whether it's even shut out.
So traditionally, a lot of people say the spectrum is carved up among the big three. So that would be Bell, Rogers, and TELUS. Should we expect to see that again this auction?
Yeah, in this auction, they'll win the biggest share of the spectrum. The country is divided into geographic areas for the purpose of bidding. Each area has 4 prime blocks of spectrum, which means that Bell, Rogers, and TELUS are going to get 3 of those 4, leaving other carriers to fight over that one remaining chunk.
People living in rural areas have had some concerns about how the spectrum auction has been set up. They feel bigger companies aren't going to work to bring broadband access to their areas. How has Industry Canada addressed those concerns?
Well, the rules specify that those companies that win spectrum have between 5 and 7 years to deploy most of it, which means they can't focus all of their efforts on cities, developed areas, where of course they'll make the most money fastest. They're going to have to also start deploying the spectrum into outlying areas to give those customers there the benefits of 700 megahertz spectrum.
One interesting person to watch seems to be John Bytov. He's the entrepreneur who was behind Mobilicity, and now he's bidding under a different name for the spectrum auction, which is Phoenix Wireless Inc. So what kind of impact do you think he's going to have on the upcoming auction?
That's a good question. Mobilicity right now is in court-ordered protection from creditors. The company has been trying to sell itself to TELUS. The government so far has said no. And so one of the questions is, if Bytov wins spectrum, what will he do with it? If Mobilicity is able to restructure, will he try to somehow sell it, get it to Mobilicity? Otherwise, there's a question, what would he do? Would he try to flip it, sell it to another carrier? He's one of the people that we're going to watch.
And when do you think we're going to see the results of this auction?
The answer to that is we really won't know. Unlike the 2008 auction, when every day Industry Canada was releasing round by round bidding. In this auction, there's a cone of silence that the government has imposed. It won't be saying anything until the auction is actually over, and then it will be several days before it certifies the results, and then everyone will know who won what. People are expecting that the auction will last 2 to 4 weeks.
Great, thank you, Howard. Appreciate it.
Sure.
That was Howard Solomon, editor of ITWorldCanada.com, with me, Candace So, staff writer at ITbusiness.ca. Thanks for watching.